And back. And we're in the home stretch of the dog days of summer on this final Tuesday of August, if you can believe that. Week 0 of the college football season. And we are here holding hands in a circle, getting ready to light the big campfire that will be never ending for the next 5 months. Good morning, everybody. Paul Ihander with you. Max Goren is back as well. Good to have a few days off away. Put the toes in the water and the butt in the sand. Had a nice cold one in the hand just to kind of refresh and recharge the batteries as we get things moving through the fall. Yes, the countdowns are all on. You know where we're at. The weekend is approaching, and we will get you there hopefully in one solid piece. We already have news to start your morning out this morning. Duke naming Walker Eget as its starting quarterback ahead of the opener against Tulane in 2 weeks. Eget, the San Jose State transfer, was slinging it in the Mountain West for the Spartans. Had good games, had some rough games as well, but more than that, he is a veteran signal caller. And when you were replacing the ACC preseason player of the year and perhaps top round draft choice in Darian Mensah, you go what you go with. And so Walker Eget beats out Dan the Man Mahan, redshirt freshman from Burlington, for the starter's job. But remember, Dan, you're just one bad snap away, one bad play away, maybe 3 interceptions away from taking that job. So Duke goes with another transfer portal quarterback, much like a lot of the other teams in the ACC also had to do, with the exception of the NC State Wolfpack in C.J. Bailey. And we'll talk about the quarterback situations in the ACC certainly throughout the program. We are going to start with college sports as we just opened up there with the Duke starting quarterback news. The SEC is not happy. The SEC is not happy with the idea that NFL players, and had to deal with it last year with NBA players, specifically a case in Alabama where they were trying to come back and play in college. And for a while, it felt like there was a defense when it came to just court cases and judges and whatnot. But we find out this morning that even with court cases and whatnot, you could still roll yourself into a state court, get your name put on a lawsuit, and the state court action supersede anything that happens in federal court. The big kind of lesson here is make sure your name is on a piece of paper somewhere. LSU is going to have a basketball player in Baton Rouge by the name of R.J. Luis, who played at St. John's for Rick Pitino 5 seasons ago and was actually in the NBA draft and was actually signed to a contract with the Utah Jazz. So he's going to go back to LSU. NFL players are going to return to college, which again, last night, the SEC commissioners and school presidents came out and said, this is not what we need. We cannot have this happen within our conference. And they're fighting. They're fighting amongst themselves. They're fighting within each other, especially when it comes to, and I keep going back to LSU, and it's going to be this recurring theme, and I don't want it to be, but it just happens to be LSU.
They just happen to be the school that is getting all the former
getting
professional athletes to be college players.
They're getting everybody, and Daquan Wright is going to most likely clear waivers with Cleveland, and when your agent is Drew Rosenhaus, you're probably thinking to yourselves as a franchise, yeah, let this guy slide. Let him slide back to school. Let him go back there. It's not just him either. There are going to be more kids that return. And the SEC presidents and chancellors are meeting today. They were already scheduled to meet anyway, but they are going to talk about the future of college athletics. They are not crazy about this. They actually put a statement out late last night saying, quote, college athletes, not former professional athletes, have been at the heart of the Southeastern Conference. Individuals who choose to leave college athletics, sign professional playing contracts, and compete professionally should not be then permitted to return to college competition. It is about one of the purest things the SEC has said about college sports in years. College sports are for college athletes. That is what it is. And this is the gray area where it feels like everybody's just kind of lost control. There's no way to pull this toothpaste out of the tube, put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's the best way to say it. There's just no way. And when you've got more of these athletes who are getting these injunctions to come back and play, The door has to close at some point. It will close at some point. Dan Graziano, ESPN, talked about the NFL, which teams are already kind of rolling their heads, with Daquan Wright going back to school at LSU.
I'm curious from the NFL side of this, what the league does. Do you have to start factoring in signability when you draft a guy? Yeah. You know, the way you did before the rookie wage scale at the top of the draft. Do you have to start writing rookie contracts differently to prohibit, these kinds of things? This is the kind of thing that now that it's happened will be talked about at owners' meetings and in league offices, and they're going to have to figure out some way to sort of, I don't know whether to say guard against this, but to your point, Dan, protect yourself in terms of, did I spend the pick on this guy and then I don't have him?
It seems a little bit deep, to be fair. I mean, and I'm not including Xavier Harris as well from Ole Miss, who's going to join Lane Kiffin at LSU. Lane Kiffin's all about this, by the way, and this is where the lines are getting kind of blurred, where the conference and the commissioners and the presidents are kind of like, yeah, we need to not have this happen. Lane Kiffin's like, hey, listen, if we're not doing it, somebody else will do it. And so we might as well just do it, because if it's not going to be us, it'll be Ohio State. If it's not going to be Ohio State, it'll be Georgia. If it's not Georgia, it'll be Alabama. If it's not Alabama, it's going to be Cal, and so on, and so on, and so on. But this is the mess that we find ourselves in, and it will get cleared up eventually. But money gets in the way. And the same thing is actually happening at ECU, too. So at ECU, they've got 3 players now. They're all actually back on campus, okay? They're back on campus, but they're stuck. There was and I don't know how much of this you got yesterday. Maybe you didn't, but Friday there was a ruling that was made in a court saying all these fifth-year guys, no, you can't. You can't go back unless you were named in one of these lawsuits. J.D. Lampley is on campus in Greenville. Marlon Gunn Jr., who started as a running back for East Carolina, is on campus. Samuel Danka is on campus. But the NCAA got a stay in this 10th federal court ruling, which allowed these guys to come back for a 5th year. They were all enrolled in classes. They were getting back in shape with team activities. They can't do it now. So what they're doing is they're going back to court. J.D. Lampley has added his name to another court case in a different state in order for him to play football. East Carolina University has pretty much, they're already passed it. The 21st was the add drop date for classes. It's already done. ECU administrators could allow for special exceptions. Now, do you declare a football player a special exception? The slippery slope that comes along with all of these things has now reached into academics. There's money that's being paid, but there's also now 3 kids out there who probably didn't get into school because they're adding more kids. So now I'm on a 165, student capped seminar, and, well, we just made room for 3 more. Not saying it's right, but I'm saying the more it gets messier, the more it will continue to trickle down. And so how do you think about it? And the article that's on Hoist the Colors, by the way, that has been written about this, the family has taken on some, you got to hire a lawyer, right? These lawyers don't do work pro bono for the most part. I'm just saying. Having lawyers in my family, they don't do a lot of free work. They just don't. Even I ask them for stuff, and they're like, well, maybe you want to consult an attorney that might help. Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. It's okay. Your family. I remember, playing with you in a backyard swimming pool, but that's fine. But there's now even more money involved. Not just the players that are being paid, but now the lawyers that are getting paid. Sure, I'll add your name to it for couple $1,000. I'll represent you. I'll keep you in touch, and we'll make all this happen. And there's this, and this is the American Conference now. This is ECU that's dealing with this possibility of 3 players wanting to come back but sitting on lawsuits. Are they going to play in the game at Alabama? Probably not. They got to work themselves back into shape. But would they be useful in conference play? Absolutely in the American Conference when you've got dealing with Navy, who's returning pretty much everybody, and you've got a Memphis team that may or may not overachieve under a new first-year coach. Hope is there for some of these players, but it continues to mess things up. And now, because we're getting closer to football season, it's getting worse.
Yeah, when the first big sweeping injunction came down in Colorado, a lot of the talk was about basketball, but it's particularly bad timing for football with it being less than a month before the season was starting. I think the one that really speaks to where we are today in college sports is not to me is not Daquan Wright, but Xavier Harris, who was playing for Ole Miss as recently as last season and was with the Saints during the preseason this year. He was very critical of Lane Kiffin pretty publicly when he left Ole Miss to go take the job at LSU. And yesterday he committed to go back to LSU and play for him.
Money fixes things.
So loyalty, all that. It's a different game now. It is not the same game that we used to know when it comes to college sports and college football.
Band-Aids are green. And if the SEC said the most pure thing possible. College is for college athletes. And you make the jump to the NFL, you make the jump to the NBA. This is the question mark that comes in with bringing the international players in from Europe and Africa and Asia and Australia who have played professional basketball and were paid to play professional basketball, but are now coming to the United States to play pro hoops. I believe one of the North Carolina starters is going to be 25. Starter or maybe bench player, 25 years old. That's wow. Wow. You could rent the car for the team and drive the team around. And again, age ain't but nothing but a number, but you think about kids that are, and I say kids because they are kids, 17 and 18 years old, going up against 24, 25 years old on a football field right now. Max Johnson is a starting quarterback at Georgia Southern. Y'all remember Max Johnson, Carolina fans? Max Johnson is starting at Georgia Southern, who lost, by the way, Georgia Southern lost all 11 starters on offense. They all graduated or transferred. He's going to start there. It's his 7th year of football. 7 years. Quarterback's a little bit different. You're a little headier. Totally get that. He might have nobody to throw to. But that's 7 years. He's got 7 years on a kid that's just entering school. And I think about Faison Brandon, who might start at Tennessee. I don't think they've settled that yet. With the Vols, if he's going to start there. He's 18 years old. I'm stand those guys next to each other. One's legally able to buy alcohol, legally able to rent a car without a parent's signature, and the other one barely can buy lottery tickets without getting carded, let alone walk into a bar after 10 o'clock. Just the layers and layers and layers that come along with this. And now you've got commissioners against coaches, and coaches are we don't have a choice. If we don't do it, and Lane Kiffin, I get, to his credit, the competitive style of Lane Kiffin. Hey, listen, if we aren't doing it, somebody else is going to do it. I absolutely agree with that. That will be. Oh, I guess Brandon did win the Vols job. He did true fresh. That's right. That was yesterday. He made that happen yesterday. Kid from Greensboro. He's going to start there. But, again, true freshman. Going to go against a 7th-year quarterback at some point. And I see the filtering out that's happening. We see it. It's slow. But now we're adding the extra layer about professionals playing and returning to college for another year. Slippery slopes. There's more courtroom action than to deal with. I'm not sure if you can keep wrapping your head around it. I know it's tough. I know there's a lot of things, but it does affect the teams that you're working with. It does affect the kids that you watched playing high school football literally just last fall.
I'm Max Goren with 3 things you need to know right now from 99.9 The Fan. The final triangle quarterback battle has been settled this morning. Duke has named San Jose State transfer Walker Eget the starter for their Week 1 game against Tulane next Saturday. Eget was battling redshirt freshman Dan Mahan for the starting quarterback job throughout training camp. Angel Reese set a WNBA single-game record last night, grabbing 26 rebounds in the Atlanta Dreams win over the LA Sparks. Reese surpassed Shamik Holdsclaw's record of 24 rebounds, which stood for more than 23 years. She has led the league in rebounding in each of her first 2 seasons. The Stanley Cup will be at the DBAP tonight as the Durham Bulls celebrate the Carolina Hurricanes championship during their game against the Norfolk Tides. Bulls coverage can be found on 620 AM Buzz Sports Radio, 99.9 FM HD2, and WRAL News Plus, with first pitch scheduled for 6:45 p.m. For all the latest news on your favorite teams, download the 99.9 The Fan app or visit 999thefan.com.
Here's another just sad reminder about when you talk about sports teams and when coaches claim you are a family. And I'm not talking about, sons and daughters who happen to be assistant coaches like we have at Carolina, and hopefully Steve Belichick's doing better. Hopefully, fight on whatever you're fighting, brother. Or training staff or whatever it is, or, just PR people. Whatever. I'm not talking about that kind of family. I'm talking about when you walk into a locker room and coaches and players, and you hear the word a lot, and you're kind of like, It's kind of like at your workplace, and it might be the best workplace on the planet, right? You might work for one of those top 100 workplaces in your area, and they go, it's, what's the thing that gets thrown out there? It's a family atmosphere. Oh, they treat us like family. They treat us like family. And you always hear that in sports, too. And you hear it among youth coaches, you hear it among professional athletes, and you definitely hear it in high school and college. And we're a family. Family fights together. Family sticks together. We got each other's back. We call each other's brothers. We call each other's sisters. And it's not. It absolutely isn't. It never was, and it's not going to be. And we just spent a little bit of time there talking about money and sports, and I have to make a business decision for me. And the quicker the athletes realize it, that it is not family, that it is just straight up business, and that's what it is. And so at LSU, and LSU just cropped back up, LSU women's basketball head coach Kim Mulkey has signed a player from Russia. 17-year-old Anna Maneva. I don't know Maneva. She's a center. She's from Russia. A year ago, Kim Mulkey signed from a transfer from Notre Dame, Kate Koval. Kate Koval is from Kiev, Ukraine. And if the two had been together in this locker room, it would have been the first time, and this is a story from Yahoo Sports, the first time Russian-Ukrainian teammates would share a locker room in women's college basketball since Russia first invaded Ukraine in 2022. And here's where, we drag ourselves into this professional, should they be professional? Maneva, who's 17, played professionally with a team in Russia. Kate Koval is transferring out of LSU due to personal reasons. Statement came out late last night from LSU. Kate, this is from Kim Mulkey. Kate came to see me on Sunday, told me after much consideration she'll be leaving the program for personal reasons. We will respect her privacy on her decision, but we had a long talk about it, and it was a hard decision for her. I know how hard because she loves LSU. Kate is a great person. She has to do what she feels is right for her. Kim Mulkey, head coach of LSU, told the Baton Rouge Advocate she talked to Kate before recruiting the Russian teenager. Quote, I want you to understand I'm not here to ask you how you changed to feel about Russia. I'm just here out of respect for your family and out of respect for you to let you know because I know how personal it is for you. Know that what I have to do in this business, I cannot make a decision to not recruit somebody that can help our program because of a conflict between two countries. That is cold, cold, cold business. That is the striking nail with the hammer, connecting the railroads across this country. That is the nail that tells you right away that they do not, coaches do not give a flying crap about you. Know that what I have to do in this business, I cannot make a decision to not recruit somebody that can help our program because of a conflict between two countries. Some of you out there saying, cry me a river, Paul. Boo freaking who. Kate Cavall's dad fights in the Ukrainian army. That is it, folks. There's nothing left to say. That locker room that your kid steps into, that locker room that you may have played into, you think that's family? Uh-uh. One of the most decorated women's basketball coaches on the planet just said, know that what I have to do in this business, I cannot make a decision to not recruit somebody that can help our program because of conflict between two countries. Wow.
They've got some
that's some balls.
They've got some stuff going on at LSU, man. Like, we're talking our first two segments of this show was basically all centered around either shady, morally questionable, just interesting things they got going on down there in Baton Rouge, the way that they do business. And we haven't even talked about, really, I think you mentioned R.J. Lewis, but we haven't even really mentioned Will Wade and the men's basketball team and all of this too.
Yeah, he's getting a pro player.
This is an interesting, like, it's they're towing the line so much that their own conference is mad at them.
It's just wild to me.
So I wonder how many issues with college sports would not be as rampant if LSU just like either didn't exist or like were run by people that were like, all right, like we got to rein this in. We got to abide by some rules, right?
I have a couple of friends who have degrees from Baton Rouge.
As do I.
Grew up there. Good, not an indictment completely. But I'm like, oh, here's the other thing. Cavall can't play anywhere else. It's too late to join a new program. Maybe she could turn pro and then come back. I mean, why not?
That's the pathway these days.
Why not? Yeah, just turn pro. Go sign something pro. But that's freaking cold. That is cold.
Very unsurprising for those that have followed women's basketball at all in college and know about Kim Mulkey, though.
That is cold. Sorry. She can help us. You can stay if you want. But hey, just know.
It's all right. Just get over the fact that they're at war with your country and invading your country. It's fine.
It's not family.
Just hoop.
She doesn't get to say that on recruiting trips. Her assistants don't get to say that ever. If your kid is being recruited actively by LSU in women's basketball and they say the word family, walk their asses right back out the door. Like dog walk them out the door. Not even, just brutally not even cool.
Yeah, but then they show them the NIL check or the revenue share check. Like, well, maybe it doesn't have to be family. Maybe it can be business.
Right. Damn. Just remember, they're looking out for them. Damn. Woo. Oh, man. Just walk them out. Walk them out. That is not in your best interest at all. Between a conflict between two countries. A literal freaking war that's been going on for 4 years. It's just a conflict. Okay.
Well, she said that as part of one of the quotes, like, they can help end the war.
They can help end the war.
Help end the war by winning an SEC title.
There you go. Right. SEC championship. Bring
the
us all
SEC,
together.
when they say it just means more, like they're literally talking about like geopolitical.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, go back to wearing sequins.